I were to ask you, what's your favorite Nintendo series? What would you say? Would it be the Mario series? Would it be the Pokemon games? Would it be Ice Climbers? Not likely. Would it be the Legend of Zelda series? Aha! A lot of people would agree with you. After all, it's one of the most beloved video game series of all time. Pretty soon we're going to get another one in Breath of the Wild. And with hours of footage shown at E3, it seems like every minute of the gameplay has been analyzed and talked about over and over again. There's even a 2-hour theory video done by GameXplain, which is amazing, by the way. Those guys did an excellent job. There's really not much more that can be said that hasn't been said before about the series in general. However, I did want to elaborate on something that Andre from GameXplain stated in this video. He said that Breath of the Wild owes a bit to the original Legend of Zelda, where Link explored a wide open world with little guidance. And although we don't know everything about Breath of the Wild, he's right from what we've seen so far. And this gets me hyped more than anything else. Let me begin by saying that my favorite Zelda game is the first one, the original Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System. But what's that, you say? Do you not know that Link to the Past did everything but better? That Ocarina of Time transformed 3D video games as we know it? Have you been living under a rock for the past 25 years? Well, I do agree that those games have better polish and better graphics than the original. However, it's my favorite because the way I see it, it's a true adventure game. And what's that, you say? What is a true adventure game as you see it? To me, it's true exploration. Discovering things in places that you didn't expect without being guided. This is exactly what Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Zelda, had in mind.
It's interesting to see where he got the idea for a game like this. In the book Game Over by David Sheff, he cites the inspiration. When I was a child, I went hiking and found a lake, he says. It was quite a surprise for me to stumble upon it. When I traveled around the country without a map, trying to find my way, stumbling on amazing things as I went, I realized how it felt to go on an adventure like this. To me, that was the main focus of the original Zelda. Yes, there were puzzles, and the action was very difficult and satisfying, but the most standout element was true open-world exploration, a real adventure. The sequels also have an open-world element to them. However, although it might not look like it, surprisingly, The Legend of Zelda does it better. From the start of the game, you can go almost anywhere in the world, and try to take on any dungeon in any particular order. Even if you couldn't defeat certain bosses until you got the proper upgrades, the choice was yours. No other Zelda gives you that much freedom. The dungeons are mostly all presented in a more linear fashion. I also prefer the initial presentation from the original than the recent entries. With games like Wind Waker and especially Twilight Princess, the intro takes forever until you actually get into the exploration. I mean, what is the point of an hour-long tutorial? As if you couldn't figure this stuff out on your own. They could have and at least made it optional, but making you go through stuff like sword combat and horse riding, this halts the game's momentum to a crawl. That wasn't an issue in the earlier entries. You had to figure the controls out for yourself, and from what I've seen, Breath of the Wild will seemingly cut back on the tutorial aspect, which I'm grateful for. Now, to be fair, the original takes a lot of time and patience to play. Sometimes you can spend hours walking around bombing walls and burning bushes trying to find dungeons, shops, and secrets. It's an awesome feeling once you do find something, but it can get frustrating when you can't find anything for a while. I believe this was made this way on purpose. Back in 1986, there was no internet. The typical consumer didn't have the options and accessibility to video games as we do today. If you had an NES, most had maybe a few games. So if you played Legend of Zelda, you didn't mind spending hours and hours analyzing every screen to find out all the secrets that it held. Perhaps Nintendo thought that as the game industry grew, as you had more options, games to play, and more game systems, you didn't have as much time to dedicate to just one game. So they chose to make the following Zeldas more linear, or perhaps they just wanted the series to go in a different direction. Either way, we haven't seen an open world in a Zelda game like it since. And although I think Ocarina of Time and The Link to the Past are some of the best games of all time, a little part of me always felt that they've never made the true follow-up that follows the original, until now. Breath of the Wild ceased to finally deliver on what the first Zelda set out to do, give you the freedom to choose your own adventure. The world looks amazing and expansive. I haven't seen a world this beautiful in a Nintendo game since Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I was pleasantly surprised to hear that Monolith Soft, the developer behind it, had a lot to do with the development of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is only good news to me, as I thought that Xenoblade Chronicles X had one of the best open worlds seen in a video game. When it comes to its gameplay, a lot of people were divided. Some thought the game didn't explain enough, but I love that that it didn't bog you down with tutorials and instead had you figure out a lot of the game for yourself. The thought of Monolith Soft bringing these aspects to Breath of the Wild has me more hyped than ever. Just please, make the menu screens bigger. I can't wait to start exploring the game for myself and to see what Nintendo has in store for Breath of the Wild. After all, if it's true that everything that has been shown is only 1% of the game map, we've only scratched the surface of what the new Hyrule will look like.
So that's my take on Breath of the Wild, but I want to hear what you guys think. What are you most looking forward to in this game? Have you seen anything in the gameplay videos that you're most excited about? Let me know below, and you could be entered to win this month's Loot Crate. Thanks for watching. Please, if you liked this video, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and stick around for more Big Nintendo.